Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. So thank you all for being patient and waiting for us to let you all into the chat. My name's Ashni, and I'm the founder of HypeDocs. And in case any of you aren't familiar, HypeDocs is a tool that lets you track your achievements, beat imposter syndrome, and take control of your career narrative. I'll be sharing a coupon for HypeDocs at the end of the call, but for now, I really am excited to introduce you all to Kristina Bartold. Kristina and I originally met on a Facebook group, I believe, like 6 or 7 months ago. And since then, we recorded a podcast. And Kristina, if you get a chance, could you share the link to that podcast and then the rest of yours as well? And she and I have been talking about doing a workshop together ever since. And the obvious one came up, which is how to decide or declare what your mission is. So I've said this for many years now. My mission is to build a better tomorrow. And I'm really excited to go through this workshop to see how I can, really focus and structure on that mission and take it even further from there. So with that, Kristina, I'm going to let you take it away. I'm going to put everyone on mute, but feel free to unmute yourselves if you'd like to say anything.
Awesome. Well, hi, everybody. I'm going to share my screen in just a sec. I just posted in the chat our me and Ashni.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, Kristina, I muted you when I muted everyone. So here you go.
Here I am going rogue. Okay, amazing. Well, hi everybody. I'm Kristina, and like I said, you didn't hear. I just posted the link to me and Ashley's podcast over there, so you can take a listen to that as well. And part of my podcast, Personally Developing, which is about personal development and kind of our modern world. So I am going to share my screen, and I am so excited to chat with you today about personal mission statements, because this is something that is super near and dear to my heart as a personal development coach. So often when I work with somebody for the first time, and I see some of my clients are here, which is so sweet, I talk to them about kind of what is on their mind in terms of their values and their mission. And so I am really excited to kind of share all of that with you today. And then also for this to be pretty interactive. And if you have things you want to share, drop it in the chat. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. I want this to be really, really open. And so I'm looking forward to this. A little bit about me, just to tell you why I'm here. So like I said, I'm Kristina, and I'm a graduate of the University of Waterloo, and I studied peace and conflict studies there. And why that's important to me is because I have always been super, super interested in people, like the way that people work, the way that people grow, the way that people develop over time. And so I was super, super lucky to have a job early on in my career that was about kind of leadership capacity and developing others, and capacity development in a big way for young people. So I still work at the University of Guelph in residence life. That's my 9 to 5. And this is what I call my soul hustle, because I do so much great work with amazing people who are trying to get focus on their goals, on their personal development, and on their growth. And so since my time at Waterloo, I have become a certified life coach. I'm a Myers-Briggs practitioner. So there's a number of things that I have been doing that I'm really proud of, but that really informs my work with my clients. In my spare time, in non-COVID world, you might see me go up to a spin class. You could see me with a hazelnut latte, or hanging out with my new puppy and my husband, Josh. So I'm very fortunate. And I'm located in Guelph, and I would be remiss not to recognize as well today that for those of us who are Canadian, this is a sad time in relation to the Indigenous deaths that we have been notified of more recently, but something that we know is a really tragic part of our history. And so I recognize that I'm a settler in the land that I'm on in Guelph, and that even though my family I'm come from an immigrant family, I still really benefit from the systems of oppression that still live today. So I just wanted to recognize that today. And if you would like to refer to me, my preferred pronouns are she and her, but I'm comfortable with whatever works for you. And so what's really important to me is that this is a really inclusive and safe space for you to ask questions and to dig deep into what your mission is, because Ashni and her program and HypeDocs, they do such good work, such good work with making sure that we are recognizing our achievements and figuring out how that those benefit our accomplishments benefit our lives moving forward. And so we're going to talk about kind of the core of what that is, I think, which is your personal mission and your values. So, what I'm hoping we will cover in this time together is what is a mission and why is it important to our goals and achievement. So, often I think when we want to make change in our lives, and I see this 100% with my clients, I would say of every person I've ever worked with, and I've been very fortunate to work with over 100 people, I have seen them come and they're like, this is my goal. I'm like, amazing, your goal. I love that. And then when we talk about it in a little bit more detail, I realize that there's so much behind that goal that we haven't named. And so that's what we're going to do today is start to think about and name some of those things behind our goals. The other piece is how do you build and cultivate a mission that helps you make changes to your goals and for your life? And so for many of you, this will be in the context of your working life in what you do in your 9 to 5, or maybe you have a side business, maybe you're an entrepreneur, or it could be like in your family life. Like, what is the values and the missions of kind of your work? And so I recently did a reflection exercise with my clients, a few of them, that was like, who are you in 5 years? Like, who is that person? And it was amazing how much of that was like, I'm a mom, like, or I'm a sister. I'm someone who vacations. I'm somebody who serves others. And so it might not all be those things that you do at your desk, but really we're going to talk about how those values fit into that. And then how do we start as soon as possible, right? Like when we talk about our mission, that is our core self. And how do we get started on some of these things kind of right from the beginning? So we'll get right into that. And Ashley, I saw you posted that, and I appreciate that because I always so interesting to hear like what lands people are on and where they've really like grown up or experienced life. So I love that. So what is a mission statement? So I'd love it if people could drop in the chat what they think a mission statement is or what their experience has been with mission statements. And I ask this because often when we think mission statements, and I know for myself, we think of them in a corporate setting, right? Like the mission of Google. Ashley did a great job sharing her mission of herself and maybe how that impacts her business. But what do you think a mission statement is or a mission is? And maybe if you could drop that in the chat, I'd love to read a few of them out. And missions are often, and just before I move on, and I'll take a look in the chat in a sec, but missions are often, very personal to people. And I love this, that's written here, the reason for the goal. Totally. The reason behind our goals is often our mission. But how many times, and I don't know about you, and I see this with a lot of my folks, is like, we often set goals without our mission being super clear. And it's almost like we think goal, then mission. But what we need to be thinking is, mission, values, goal. And then that's kind of the way that we should be moving through any of our goals. So that being said, and again, questions, thoughts, feel free. Yeah, I love that. It helps me figure out what to focus on. Totally. And we're going to get into that. Yeah. It's amazing. I'm seeing some come in. Amazing. So a mission statement is a summary and of aims and values of an individual. So when we're talking about our mission, we're not only talking about, what wakes us up in the morning, like in terms of like our life goal or something that we're so excited about. We're also talking about the values that underpin what we do and the work that we like doing. So I'll ask a few questions, and there's going to be a few reflection activities in this where I'll give you a bit of time to think and brainstorm and reflect a little. But because I don't know about you, I'm a little bit of a slow burn sometimes when I'm in a workshop, and I love to have a little bit of time to reflect on something someone's talking about. But that being said, I think that really knowing our values and understanding our values is such a key piece of being able to really work and most optimally and live most optimally. So when we have a really core mission statement, and whether you see a mission statement as like a phrase or if you see it as a few words, like we can get kind of creative with it. We're able to really, I think, fill in our life to its fullest potential. So why do we need a mission statement? So It is really important. And I think when we see a business that does, like, I've seen this before, right? When you see a business online or in person, and you're like, what do you sell? Like, what do you do? And I have been guilty of messaging people I know, and not unsolicited fully, but I've been guilty of messaging people I know being like, it is unclear on your website what you offer, and not from a place of trying to be rude, but from a place of trying to be like, I think your mission is stronger than your message right now. And so I ask or challenge people to pour into their mission in a bigger way. And so I think with this as well, it's like, why do we as people need mission statements, or why do we as people need to dig deep on some of these things? It's because it's helpful for us to guide our choices, both good and difficult. So when we have a mission statement that's really clear to ourselves, like, this is who I want to be, this is the impact that I want to make, good choices become easier because we're able to see, okay, I've been presented with this opportunity. Like, so for me, for example, part of my mission statement is to serve individuals and making personal development really accessible for people, because personal development doesn't need to be $10,000 coaches. It doesn't need to be like reading 155 books a year. And I often, tell my story of personal development, which was experiencing really big burnout and kind of coming back from it. And I have realized by strengthening my mission around, personal development and really making sure that I can hone in on helping people experience it in ways that are accessible to them and right for them, opportunities that come my way, I'm able to much easier be like, okay, like, Ashley's asked me to do this workshop with her. That aligns with my mission. And that's something I'm going to do. But if someone asks me for an opportunity that doesn't align with my mission, I also get that same feeling. Like, does that align with my mission? No. I think that's a no for me. And so I have been able to really streamline my own life, and I've seen my clients do so as well, where they've been able to streamline their own life, their own experiences, their own decisions to be able to better serve whatever their larger mission is. And the other thing is like, and I say this always about therapy, it's like people always go to therapy when things are bad. But if you go to therapy ongoing, like even when things are at your best, you're at your peak performance and you're going to therapy, you're just like flexing the muscle, like of talking to someone, of like being able to have those conversations. So that being said, when you have a really strong mission statement, you and things aren't going well in your life or things are difficult, you have that to lean on. And so you can always go back to that to be like, hey, like my mission statement is this. This is someone who's not serving me or my mission. This is something that's not serving me in my mission. So I know for myself, I was recently presented with an opportunity and I like sat with it. I sat with it and I did not want to do it. My gut was like, no, Kristina, no. But I was like, oh, but this is such a good opportunity because this could benefit me in some way. But it wasn't aligned with my brand or my mission or what I feel like I am. And so I had to make that choice of saying like, no, thanks, which was hard. Those conversations are always awkward. They're never easy. But that being said, because I had a mission statement, it was so much easier for me to do because I was like, hey, that doesn't align with my mission and that's okay. So we want to make sure that we have a mission statement that serves us. Don't worry, we're going to get there. By the end of this session, I have a strong feeling you're going to be in the right direction on a mission statement. So like, sounds good. We have a mission statement, like, yay, Kristina has a mission statement and makes good choices. Not always, but how do we get one? Like, how does everyone get one? And again, this is part of my mission, right? Is like making this accessible for people to be able to have this mission statement for themselves. So on a piece of paper, I'm going to give you, 2 or 3 minutes to brainstorm. And what I'm going to ask you to think about is moments in your life or at work or whatever area of your life you're looking to kind of pour into right now. Have you felt your best? Have been areas that you've been like, yeah, like that was great. I had an amazing experience there. I had an amazing conversation there, an amazing manager there. I did an amazing project there. Like that, I had good conversations, whatever that looks like. So I want you to think about a few moments like that. So I'll give you a few minutes to brainstorm some. And then the other thing I want you to think about after you brainstorm is like, what are the common things you feel in those moments? So maybe it's a sense of accomplishment. Maybe it's you're feeling excitement. Maybe it's passion. So, and what are the aspects of it that bring you that passion? So, I saw Paula wrote here to impact violence. Like maybe there's a cause that's close to your heart, like that, you get to kind of impact more broadly. So, what I'll do is I'll give you, and I just want to time it because I don't want to go over time. I'll give you 3 minutes to think about this. And usually I play music. I won't, but I'll give you 3 minutes. You can play your own music if you'd like. I'll let somebody into the waiting room. And yeah, I'll give you 3 minutes to think about this. And then I'd love for people to write in the chat what the feelings are that come up for them. So what are things that you're like, that makes me feel like this. This experience made me feel like this. So I'll give you a second. I'll just mute myself. I'll give everyone another minute and then I'll invite some folks to share if people are interested. I don't want to pressure anyone into it, but I would love to hear from people what comes up for people as well. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back. So I saw some stuff in the chat, which was so great. So I saw Pammy, I hope I said that right. And if I didn't, I'm so sorry. When people tell me that I've helped them or thank me for something I did outside of my work agreement, I feel rewarded, happy, and motivated. Yeah, love that. And I also saw Dre wrote accomplished, excited, arrived. Amazing. Does anyone want to share like what some of those experiences are, or I don't know, sneak peek, what some of those experiences are or some of those feelings that have come up for people? Mhm. That's good. There'll be other times for sharing. If people have, like, if people want to share or they want to jump on, please let me know. I know for myself, like when I feel like most myself that leads to my like larger mission of who I am. Like I feel of service to people. Like I love when I feel of service to another person, and not like when I'm doing like rando tasks, like, hey, photocopy this for me. I'm like, okay, that's not what service like means to me in a big way. Like service is for me a big way influence. And so I've really honed in on like what are things that make me feel really good, and activities that make me feel really good that allow me to feel like I can be of service. Mackenzie wrote competent, confident, connected, expansive. Sounds like a business name. I love that. So yeah, like totally. I love some of these things. So hold on to these feelings. And the reason why is I don't know how many of you are familiar with Danielle Laporte. And Danielle Laporte is the author of the Desire Map. And you can get the Desire Map at the local library, buy it online, and you can get it off of Amazon, whatever works for you. But she came up with this idea, and I have been obsessed with it since I heard it almost 10 years ago, which is we chase feelings, not goals. And the reason I bring this up is because I love all of my clients so deeply. And whenever I work with someone new, they come to me and they have these amazing goals. And I love their goals. I dream with their goals. But there's often a feeling that they're looking for. So I think about my own business, right? Like I would have these big goals. It would be, I want to make $10,000 in 1 month in my side business. I want to do this. I want to serve 100 people. And then I would reach that 100 people goal. I reached that $10,000. And I was like, what's next? And it was like, I was never happy with where I just got to. So I've started to chase feelings, right? Like I chase, stability. Like I chase passion. I chase influence. I chase these things that have really like built my life. And so I would challenge you to do the same. Is like, we chase these like promotions at work or things like that, but it's like what we're really chasing is experiences or feelings. And so really honing in on thinking about like, why do I want that? Or I always give this example, but I had a client really early on, like one of my first clients, and she was like, Kristina, I'm so excited because I want to run a marathon. And I was like, oh, okay. And she's like, this is number one on my list. I'm like, amazing. I love that for you. I do not want to run anything. And she was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, do you exercise? And she's like, no, I do not exercise. And I was like, do you currently run? She's like, nope, don't run. I was like, so why marathon? She's like, I have a feeling it would make me feel so fit. I was like, yeah, I could see how that would make you feel so fit. But at the same time, like, do we maybe want to take another step? Like, is there something else we could do? Like, so we talked about it a lot. And what we were actually seeing was that she really responds well to like those like, okay, like timelines and responds really well to set goals. But what she was really like chasing is like having more activity in her life. And she was looking for something to measure that out with. And so when we realized that the marathon didn't need to be it, we really like were able to drill in on some really big feelings she was having. So that's the thing is like, if you want to run a marathon, all the power to you. I love that for you. You have me on the sidelines cheering for you. But asking yourself when you have these goals, why you have them is so crucial to being able to really even achieve them and invest in them. Oh, I see Paula wrote, planned a day-long event over several weeks that turned out great. Amazing. Felt excited that others learned new things. I felt empowered, supported, and grateful. Oh, I love that. Amazing, amazing. So feelings are in check. We've got our feelings. We're like, these are the feelings. And Danielle uses the word, the first name basis, Danielle. Danielle uses the words core desired feelings. And you can use whatever you want. So the next thing is asking, like, what are your values? So not necessarily what are you chasing, but what are the things that like underpin your life? So when I think about the things that underpin my life, they're integrity, ambition, learning environment. I have a whole list of values that I love. Family life, financial security. Like there's these things that are super important to me. And so I want to ask you what your favorite values are, or values that you want to live your life with. So I'm going to give you again 3 minutes to just jot down a few. And this doesn't need to be your final kick at the can on this. Like this is something you're going to revise a lot. And you want to take that time with yourself. So I'll give you 3 minutes to brainstorm some values. And if you're like, girl, I don't know any values, I can't think of anything. Sometimes when people ask me questions, I'm like, ooh. I put a pro tip at the bottom, which if you Google James Clear values list, James Clear is the author of Atomic Habits. And that's an amazing text. If you haven't read it, it's an awesome, awesome book. So I will mute myself. I'll give you 3 minutes to list some of the values that kind of underpin your life. So I'll leave that with you. And I have it timed.
For what it's worth, I'm a huge James Clear fan, especially the Atomic Habits book. I read it a month or two ago, and it's so good.
I knew you would be on the same page. Feel free to drop some of these values in the chat as well. You can just toss them in one at a time. I see Pammy has already done that. Growth and kindness. Wrote down sincerity and lifting up everyone. I love that. Authenticity, honesty, transparency, trust, mentorship, community, amazing. Would love to see some more. Oh, sorry, I missed Anna. Authenticity, adventure, and inner peace, happiness, amazing. Lots of authentic people here. Humor, intelligence, boldness, creativity, love that. I'll give you 1 more minute for those of you who are still dreaming up their ideal values. Loving some of these that are also coming in are craving authenticity. I definitely think so. And then Paula wrote, not hurting others that are already hurting, learning how to be woke without being part of the problem. Totally. And I feel more and more like this is all something that we're really struggling with. It's like, I even thought about this a lot this weekend, right? Like, it's like, how do we navigate some of these complex human facing issues with a more kind mindset? Empathy, compassion, adventure, teamwork, integrity, and whatever the opposite of complacency is. I love it. Opposite of complacency. Ambition? I don't know. If anyone has a good one for Veronica of the opposite of complacency, drop that in the chat. I'll give you another 30 seconds just for any last ones. Excitement. Okay, that's a good one. That's good. Justice, love, service. Awesome, Mackenzie. Oh, these question mark ones are answers to Veronica. I was like, no, stand boldly. Awesome. I'll bring us back. Thanks, everyone. And like, keep thinking on these. The thing about these types of activities is that they're never over. Like, it's like, this is a lifelong journey you'll always be on. And so I make it a personal mission of mine to really do this, like probably once a month, once every few months, to think about like what the focuses of my month are. So we'll go through that in a little bit more detail. I have a little bit of like tips on how to make your mission like real for you, but yeah. So let's build a statement. I hope people are as excited as I am about this. So before we start, remember that when we're going to be building the statement, it's going to be about thinking about your ideal self. So when you are talking about your mission statement of who you are, you're thinking about like the most ideal Ashley, the most ideal Veronica, the most ideal Mackenzie, like whoever you are in your best form. So when I think of myself in my best form, I'm someone who prioritizes others. I'm someone who makes time for others. I'm someone who makes time for myself, that has strong personal boundaries, that like these are things that I'm like always working towards. So if, for example, if Ashley's mission statement was like to create HypeDocs, then she would already have reached her mission statement, which is like great for Ashley, but not as ambitious as I know that she can be, right? So what you want to do is think of your most wild, like unwieldy self and think about what you believe in, what you prioritize, and what is on the forefront for you. And it can be as big as you want it to be. So, and I want it to be big for you. So I think about my marathon client, right? Like I was not struck by her marathon and being like, because it was a marathon. I was struck because I wasn't sure why she wanted the marathon. But if she had come to me and been like, hey, like it's been my lifelong dream to be a marathon runner because like I love running and it brings me so much innate joy and I love this and I love that, I would have been like, let's make this marathon happen. Like, how do we make this happen for you? So the other thing is your mission statement aren't goals, right? Like it's not like, hello, I'm going to get this done by tomorrow. It's your guiding statement. So if this is, you know, like ending poverty or it's working towards like really strong relationships with my family and my friends, like you want to think of your most ideal self, not I like want to do this by the time I'm 40. So I used to say 30 as the benchmark and then I recently got very close to 30 and now I'm like, oh god, there were so many things I said I want to do by the time I'm 30 and I'm not there yet. So thank god that's not my mission statement. So when you brainstorm, and I'm going to give you a few minutes to do this again, so I'll give you probably like 2 or 3 minutes, is what you think your mission in life is. And that's a big question. You're like, ooh, but you're using your feelings and you're using your values to inform what your mission could be. So think my mission in life or in work is to blank. And your mission in life could be to feel ambitious. Your mission in life could be to constantly seek motivation or experiences that make you feel motivated. So I will leave you with 3 minutes to do this. And obviously 3 minutes to make your life's mission is not enough time. So this is a draft. This is what we put in the drafts folder. So I'm going to leave that for you for 3 minutes. Okay. I'm going to mute myself. And I want to see what your brainstorming is. So toss it in the chat, like the initial things that come up for you. Feel free to drop some of this in the chat as well, or things that are coming up for you. with everything. Seeing a few things come up in the chat. Some good ones here. I love this. And again, right, like Mackenzie just wrote in here as well, draft 1, right? Like you're not going to write this today and then it lead your whole life. Maybe it will. If it does, get back to me. Well, please let me know. But hopefully I'm still doing this work in 50 years. Yeah, this is the first draft. I'll give everyone 1 more minute before we move into a bit of an activity. Awesome. Yeah, Paula. Love this. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to break out into a few breakout rooms and Ashley put those together and they're groups of 3. And what you're going to do is you are going to chat with people about your mission. So like share what kind of came up for you, what feelings have kind of come up for you, and then what your first draft of the mission is. And so we'll give you about maybe like 3 or 4 minutes in there. So just an opportunity to introduce yourself and then kind of go into your mission. And then we'll kind of bring you back. So Ashley's going to split you up.
All right. If any of you haven't been in a breakout room before, you should be getting an invite right now to join one. And I'll give you a notification when it's down to the last minute and you'll be pulled back out after a minute or after 3 and 4 minutes. Hi, Angel. Are you able to get into one of the rooms?
Maybe Angel went to the washroom or something.
Yeah.
That's happened to me so many times when I've been at stuff and then they do like a breakout room. I'm like, no, I went to the bathroom. Awesome, yeah.
This section is still being recorded, but I've been keeping track of all the like links and references that you've mentioned. Awesome. Like the James Clear one, for example, and I'm just going to include all of that in an email that I send out to everyone afterwards.
Amazing, you're the best. Thank you. This is so exciting.
No. Just have some fun. I guess we can do one between the 2 of us and Joelle as Joelle joins us now. Yeah. Hi, Joelle. So we just moved everyone out into breakout rooms, but since you're kind of in the middle of it, we're happy to work on the exercise with you. Kristina, maybe you can just share what everyone's working on.
Okay.
Yeah. So what we're talking about right now is kind of like our like mission. So thinking about like our life broadly and like in terms of like how we want to live our lives. So it's a big question to kind of jump into. But it's like, what are some of the things that would be included kind of in your mission statement? So I know Ashley's mission statement, I just saw, is to build a better tomorrow. And my mission statement in a lot of ways is to try to be of service to as many people as possible. Joel, is there anything that comes to mind for you?
Mine is really about sort of democratizing information to provide a leveling ground for people to access opportunities.
Awesome.
I love that. I think that's super important as well.
What kind of information, Joel, is important for you?
What kind of information?
Yeah.
It's got to do with everything around personal development, advancement in careers, hitting your goals. So anything around these, because I feel like a lot of people are not able to get that kind of fulfillment or advancement because they don't get access to these information. So for example, someone wants a scholarship, they don't even know what website they need to go to. And just by they being able to get that exposure to, okay, you need to go to this website, get this information and that, it helps them to, make the best. It gives a leveling ground, a leveling play field, and then they're able to bring out their best. Yeah.
I love that, Joel. That's similar to the type of work that I'm really interested in, is how do we make personal development really accessible to people? Because I think personal development is one of those things that everybody definitely needs, but not everyone's able to access, like due to maybe like financial circumstance or what could be going on in their life.
Yeah. And then there's always that sort of subtle, if you need personal development, it's because you don't think you're good enough. And like there's so many undertones to that as well. I'm going to give everyone the final countdown. So people will start joining back in now.
Love it. Okay. Find my little PowerPoint.
Thanks for joining us, Joel. And in case you're interested, we will be sending out a recording of the workshop so that you can catch up with the start as well later.
Okay, sure. That's fine.
Awesome. All right, Corey.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, we're coming back. Okay, just gonna reshare my screen.
Okay.
Great. Do you have everyone back yet?
No. I think there's maybe one more group that's still, okay, yeah, 8 more seconds and then they'll all be back.
Awesome. I feel bad for them. That's the worst, when you're like mid-speech and then someone's like, bam.
Yeah. They usually have like that 60-second countdown, but then it's like, do you stop talking and join, or do you finish for that extra minute? Anyway, I think everyone should be back now.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming back. And some of you have kept your cameras on since, so it's nice to see some more faces and see what everyone's up to. So what were some that came up for people? And feel free to drop them in the chat. Like, what were some pieces that came up for people that were part of their mission? Or maybe if there was any refinement. I'll give everyone a few seconds to write that in.
And I think if anyone wants to hop onto the mic, you're also welcome to do that too. Yeah. So the one that I was sharing with Kristina, which I've shared in the chat a couple times already, is I'm on a mission to build a better tomorrow. And if I wanted to expand on that a little bit, it would be around making sure that there's equity, diversity, and inclusion for all. And that's both in your career and your personal lives. But I see a couple coming in through the chat. So Kristina, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Ashley. And feel free if anyone wants to go in as well. So people wrote, I think I wasn't really being honest before about what I was trying to prove, right? So sometimes these activities like cause us to dig deep. And I remember when I started doing this work myself, because if I'm asking my clients to do it, I do it myself, is I started to see things that I was like unfamiliar with about myself that I had no idea. So that's why I think this stuff is really important. Paula wrote justice and fairness, which you were both aligned on. I love. Veronica wrote, it was interesting talking to Annette because she has 2 distinct missions that clearly can go hand in hand, but how they fit is a missing puzzle piece. Yes. Yeah, I have some ideas on how to get to the house soon. So hopefully that'll be helpful for you, Veronica. And then the other piece is 2 sides, advocating for the defenseless and maximizing my experience of the world. I love these. Love these. We're dreaming big, people. I love this. Okay. So next steps. So it is so easy to do one of these workshops. I have done countless workshops in my lifetime where I've closed the book and then I've never looked at the book again. And I'm hoping that that's not the case today. So making sure that you keep it somewhere visible. So I don't know if you could see behind me, I would have to flip my computer up. You can see little Post-it notes up there. I keep my Post-it notes there. And those are actually my clients' names, but I keep my vision in terms of what my big values are on the mirror in my bathroom. So I look at those all the time. And I learned that from a client who does that. So keeping them visible reminds me all the time to be making choices with integrity, with thoughtfulness, with things that are kind of driving my life. Now you can make goals from there and move them to habits. So right from, once you have a really clear mission statement, that's a great place to start for some goals. So to start to think about, okay, like now I know that like my mission is, aligned with justice and fairness. And that's super important to me. And how do I see myself living that out? I want to volunteer 10 hours a week. Amazing. Let's start building some habits around that. So really building down from there. And if you are into affirmations, I don't know if everyone is, and some people find them hokey. I love them. But positive self-talk is so important. So I write down my mission and in my affirmations every single day. So every single day I write like, I'm a woman of integrity. I am somebody who is of service to other people. That's so important to me. And so if you can make that a part of your day, and usually like, I love to tell my clients to do it first thing in the morning, they wake up hot, and then you write those down. It's like, yeah, I am a woman of integrity. And then everything you do from that day will live in that space. So those are some good next steps for you. In terms of some resources, and then I'm almost done, is one, a desire map, Danielle Lepore's book. If you're interested in doing that, it's purple, it's so cute. But you get like kind of like templates inside of it about like how to build a desire map, which is kind of a bigger activity than kind of what we did today. The second is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Ashley, I think, posted in the group, or she'll post it later in her email when she sends it out to everybody. But Atomic Habits is excellent and an excellent way to talk about building habits. If you're looking for a habit tracker, I love mine, and it's the first of the month. So what a better time, no better time really than to start one, because sometimes I get on the, like, I'm like, yeah, I need to start this habit. It's like the 12th. And I'm like, I cannot do that today. I have to wait until the 1st. So you can check out a habit tracker. There's a free one on my website, which Ashley will link for you. So, but you can check out, it's free on my website. You can grab it. You can grab it off Pinterest. You can buy cute ones off Etsy, whatever floats your boat. You want to be able to find like-minded people to talk to you about your mission statement and help you live that out. So talking to a friend, talking to family, talking to a coach, having people kind of work with you on that. And then HypeDocs. And so in talking to Ashley on my podcast, I learned so much about the platform and about, what the vision is for it. And that is a great way for you to start to think about your skills and your wins long-term. And all of those things are mixed, right? Like your wins in the day, how you see yourself, what your mission statement is, like all of these things kind of build into our ideal self. And so I would really recommend, if you don't have HypeDocs, definitely worth checking out. And I'll leave it open for questions if anybody has questions, but I just want to let you know, I just want to say firstly, thank you so much. I know people have busy personal and professional development lives. I know things are busy for people and it's hard to make these things a priority. And so the fact that you're here is the first step of your own even investment in yourself. So I love that. I love that so much for you. And please feel free to keep in touch. I'd love to hear about what people are up to. I'd love to hear about how people's mission statements have impacted decisions or anything like that. You can find me most easily on Instagram. That's where I'm always chilling. But feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can like my Facebook page or via email. Happy to connect. And if you're looking for some, free personal development, definitely check out my podcast. Ashley was, I think, my second or third episode, and you can check that in there. But every week I post with someone like Ashley, who's an inspiring person who's doing great in our communities. So always good stuff to learn. So just want to thank you so much. And I'm going to open the floor for questions if anyone has any before I pass it back to Ashley. It's okay if not, but okay, I'll pass the floor.
I'll keep talking, but if anyone does have questions, feel free to just interrupt me or post them in the chat, and I can always read them out for you. Thank you so much, Kristina. Every time you and I talk, it's always just so much insightful stuff that I learn, both for myself and also just things that I want to add or include into my own product. So I think you actually did get a question, so I'll pass it back to you. And the question is from Dre, and it's, did you mean you should be chasing your feelings instead of your goals? Could you clarify your earlier point?
Yeah, so if you goal set the way that I believe everyone should goal set, it's that we start with our feelings and our feelings feed into our goals. So if you are chasing the right kind of feelings, your goals kind of fall into place. So if you are like, hey, I am like really chasing living like a really like nourished life. Like say it's like, I really like want to eat healthy. Like that's really important to me, is like feeling healthy. Then your decisions start to impact or start to kind of fold into that. And then your goals fold into that as well. So that's why I always say you start with your feelings and you chase those, like you chase opportunities and things that bring you closer to whatever feeling that is. And then from there, you're able to make really impactful goals. Hopefully that helps, but feel free to jump on if not. Awesome.
Awesome. Great. I actually did have one question for you, Kristina. So you mentioned a lot of really great resources, and some of them are freebies, some of them are in like app format, some of them are, you know, like written journals and things like that too. What is maybe your, like, let's say we now all have more clarity on our first draft for our mission statement. What would you say is the next thing that we should really try to focus on if we can only do one thing as our next step?
So I think for your next step, it's, so once you have like a kind of clear draft, you're like, okay, I'm in a good spot with my mission statement. It's asking yourself, like, what is most crucial, like in this moment for you? Like what it feels most emergent. So one of the things I think we get trapped in when we do these kinds of big activities is we're like, oh my gosh, like I need to feel nourished. I need to feel excited. I need to feel ambitious. I need to feel like this. And it's like, yeah, that will come, like with time. But I would choose one of the feelings you want to chase and break it down into one goal that you're really excited about. And then start to build habits towards that. Like start to, you know, using a habit tracker, or start to building a little bit towards that. And I think also really finding out what works for you in terms of personal development. So like I said, I mentioned Desire Map, I mentioned Atomic Habits, I mentioned a podcast. Like one of the things I'm really passionate about, and I talk about this on my podcast, on my Instagram all the time, is that like not all personal development is for all people. And so if you are not a podcast person, no hard feelings. Like if you like do not feel like learning is great for you through books, I don't care. Like that's fine for me. I think it's just we get so caught up in this idea that like we need to like work, like we need to like learn, we need to constantly be like, you know, doing, and that can be so detrimental to our goals. So I think really focusing in on one area and then thinking about methods you like to do to get there. So whether that be a podcast or whether that be a book, whatever kind of works for you. I see some more questions. Do you mind, Ashley, if I jump right into them?
I was just going to say, go. You've got a couple minutes to go for it.
Awesome. I'm going to do Pammy first, and then I'm going to do Paula, because Paula's questions about Myers-Briggs. So do you have advice on how to deal with setbacks? Example, people not being receptive. Yes. So my latest podcast episode is like how, like basically that, like what happens when you have people in your life who are not supportive of your personal development or maybe your goals. So you can give a listen to that. But I think the big thing is that when you are so secure in your own mission statement, it stops being about other people. And I've been reading a lot of quotes lately that's like about how, you know, when you have boundaries and they make other people uncomfortable, like that's not about you. And I think recognizing that with your own mission statement and your own personal development is also crucial too, because even for myself, like when I started leveling up in my business and I started investing in my business in a big way, I had people who were like, you're nuts. Like, that is crazy. Like, I can't even believe you would do that. And if I had listened to them, I would not be where I am today. So I had to be like, I respect you for, you know, caring about me, or this, what I think this is caring. But I need to recognize that I need to do this for myself. And so you need to become so crystal clear in your mission that it's unshakable. And that's why I think really pouring into it and taking the time to think about it is so important. I see Paul asked about Myers-Briggs, which is no problem, which is I have been a lifelong ISTJ, but I took MB-based tests and learned that I'm a turbulent campaigner, which I agree that is me. But do I try to tame the turbulence or maximize it? So from my own work with Myers-Briggs, like I'm a psychometrics trainer. So like people learn in different ways, but I'm trained through psychometrics. So when we talk about Myers-Briggs, I don't think it's ever about taming. It's about utilizing. So there will be times where your personal development and your personality is, you know, you're gonna be like, that's not ideal for this, but it's really about being able to, like, Myers-Briggs takes a very strengths-based approach to personality. So even for myself, like I type as an ESFP, which is the exact opposite of your type, which is fine. But I type as an ESFP, which is the entertainer, which is not shocking, but a big piece of my personality is that I'm extremely pressure prompted. And Ashley and I have we've been collaborating on this, and, lots of trust on both ends, that I was like, I'm going to come and I'm going to do this PowerPoint. I did this PowerPoint today. I feel great about it. Like, that's how I work best. If I had done this 2 weeks ago and been like, here, Ashley, I would have had way better ideas today. But I work way better spontaneously, and that's important to my personality. But I have learned how to lean into that as, hey, I'm spontaneous, not, hey, I'm disorganized. And really trying to figure out ways to maximize that in the workplace, right? So I don't know if that answered your question fully, but I think what you want to do is maximize it, but then have enough self-awareness to know when, you don't want to be causing too much turbulence. There's lots of stuff about ISTJs I could tell you, like in terms of the Myers-Briggs theory. So feel free to reach out to me if you want to chat a little bit more about it. But the bigger thing is that we take a strengths-based approach. And I think even with our mission statements, to bring it full circle, and like our values, it's like, we're not taking a negative fixing approach. Like, we're taking a strength-based approach, which is why I asked you, like, what are your best moments? I wasn't like, hey, what are the worst times of your career? And how do we keep it from happening? Like, what I'm saying is, hey, what are the best moments? Like, we take strengths-based approaches. So yeah, if you're interested, Paula, in chatting a little bit more about MBTI and how that all works, feel free to reach out. Awesome.
All right. I'm guessing there's no more questions, and we are coming right up to the end of our time. So I'm just gonna, is it loaded? Okay. So I just wanted to share a couple like wrap up statement type things. So thank you again, everyone, for joining in. If you enjoyed this workshop, then I'm really happy. If you have any feedback, I will be sending out a survey afterwards, so you can both give me feedback on like the messaging around getting this event up, but also to Kristina on, while it was a great spontaneous workshop, if there's anything you'd like to see or understand, or that she could explain better. And I did go ahead, and any of the links that got shared in the chat or that we discussed about, I have kept a list of them. So I'll be including all of those in the email that we send out as well. And I just wanted to give a quick little shout out to HypeDocs, because it is what I'm working on and building. One of the things that I really, that we built into HypeDocs, especially after talking to Kristina, is there is a space for your mission statement there. And the way that we try to focus on it is it's right at the top in your profile. And it's one of those things that lets you really emphasize, okay, this is who I am and this is what my mission statement is. And as you start building your goals and as you start tracking your achievements, for me, I do achievement tracking more than I do affirmation tracking like Kristina, but it works in the same kind of way. Then that's just a really great way to build up towards it and accomplish your goals, and then also accomplish your mission statements. I don't know if you can ever accomplish any of our mission statements because we have such big ambitious goals, but it's not because they're not, like, we can always continue working towards it. So thank you again to everyone for coming out. I really appreciate this. I enjoy throwing these workshops because I'm always learning so much. And as you can all tell, Kristina is such a wonderful human being. I really recommend, if you're a podcast person, check out her podcast. I believe she's got a few articles and things like that on her blog as well, or on her website. And she does have a ton of freebies and things like that that you can check out, which I have also linked in this list of links. So thank you. And I think I saw a message, which I will quickly read. Nope, all good. So thanks, everyone. I'll stay on for an extra minute or two, but feel free to enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone. So nice to connect. Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Ashley. That was great.
Thank you. That was like, we had so much back and forth on trying to get that, and like so many like missed dates and things like that. And oh, let me stop recording actually.